It has been predicted by the U.S. Census Bureau that by 2023, less than half of the student-age people in the United States will be non-Hispanic Caucasians. Due to this, the importance of incorporating multicultural education and culturally relevant pedagogy into the public school system is increasing. With over half of the student population being some race other than non-Hispanic Caucasians, it is essential that educators and school systems be accustomed to working with students from all backgrounds and cultures. Multicultural education is defined as any form of education or teaching that incorporates the histories, texts, values, beliefs, and perspectives of people from different cultural backgrounds. Incorporating these values into the educational curriculum is necessary because it has been proven that student success improves when students relate to their education. Having a student population in which over half of the students come from culturally diverse backgrounds creates a need for a revolution in the current public school systems. All students deserve an education that respects and incorporates their beliefs and cultures. It is the duty of the public school system to provide a relevant education to all students, including those of culturally diverse backgrounds. The school system is not only responsible for providing students with an education, it is also responsible for creating successful citizens. Providing a multicultural education to all students helps to ensure that this occurs. By teaching all students in a way that relates to them, teachers assist their growth as good citizens. By creating a multicultural curriculum, all students are given an equal opportunity to succeed. It is important to recognize that multicultural education is not simply adding a few cultural activities to the previously created curriculum. It is not enough to read about African American history in February and to sing Feliz Navidad at Christmas. In order to create a true multicultural classroom, one must incorporate ideas and experiences from all cultures equally. The majority of the curriculum cannot be based on any particular culture if that culture does not include all of the students within the classroom. The purpose of multicultural education is to create an environment in which all students can feel comfortable enough to be themselves. The curriculum should allow for discussions amongst the students about their lives, as well as time for them to present information to the class about what makes them special. Every student should feel equally important within a classroom, and true multicultural education allows for this. In addition to multicultural education, it is also beneficial to integrate culturally relevant pedagogy into the classroom. Culturally relevant pedagogy is defined as teaching strategies in classroom environments that help students from diverse racial, ethnic, and cultural groups attain the knowledge, skills, and attitudes needed to function effectively within and create and perpetuate a just, humane, and democratic society. This means that teachers base the way that they teach on the cultural differences amongst the students in their classrooms. By knowing one's students well enough, one can structure an entire teaching strategy on the needs of the students within the classroom. Doing this allows for the ultimate success amongst the students. In order for this to occur, the teacher must be aware of the needs of all of the students in the class. He or she must then teach in a way that is most effective for all of the students. Social studies education, like all other subjects, can benefit from the use of multicultural education and culturally relevant pedagogy. Creating a classroom environment that celebrates all cultures helps to ensure the comfort of all students. It also helps to keep the students interested in the content because they are able to relate to it. Social studies is often associated with negative feelings due to boredom or lack of interest amongst the students. However, by incorporating information that is relevant to the students' lives, the teacher can create a new interest in an otherwise boring subject. In an attempt to create a multicultural classroom, many teachers have discovered it useful to incorporate culturally relevant reading materials into the class curriculum. Using these resources helps to gain the interest of the students by teaching history in a fun way while also helping the students to connect to the content. Students love read-alouds of any kind, so connecting the story with their lives is just another way to enhance their learning. In the remainder of the video, I'll provide some examples that one could use to integrate multicultural education and culturally relevant pedagogy into a social studies classroom or lesson. One example of a way to incorporate multicultural curriculum is through cooperative learning. In a study on Nigerian students, it was proven that cooperative learning is one of the most effective teaching strategies. When cooperative learning is done correctly, it can build bridges between students of different backgrounds. It can also allow students to share their personal ideas and experiences with their groups. Having the ability to work together and share their ideas allows the students to bond with one another. These bonds help them to feel comfortable sharing with and learning from their classmates. An activity that one could use with this strategy is learning about different perspectives associated with slavery. Children often learn about the conditions of slavery, but they rarely consider the perspectives of all of the people who were involved in it. By reading books such as The Daily Life on a Southern Plantation in 1863 by Paul Erickson and Christmas in the Big House, Christmas in the Quarters by Patricia McKissack, students can get an idea of the stereotypical daily lives of slaves and slave owners. In order for the students to work cooperatively, they could be separated into groups and asked to read one of these books. They could then work with their groups to create a journal entry about what life would be like as a slave or as a plantation owner. After their groups had completed the journal entries, they could summarize the book that they read and their feelings about it to the other groups. Once both groups understood both books, the class could discuss how the slaves felt as well as how the owners felt and why both groups felt the way they did. It would be important to mention that many whites did not own slaves and many did not agree with it. The students could incorporate this information into their discussions and create a chart comparing and contrasting how all of the groups felt versus how the students feel about these issues. Allowing the students to work together to create a journal entry and a chart creates an environment in which all the students can share their ideas in a small scale as well as with the entire class. The discussion sections within the lesson allow the students to state their opinions while also understanding the opinions of others. It is important because the students get to not only learn about an historical event from multicultural perspectives, but they also get to create and share an opinion about it. Another example of incorporating multicultural education into a social studies lesson is a lesson about food. Everyone can relate to food, so it is a great subject to learn about in a multicultural classroom. When teaching about food, the teacher can read books such as Too Many Tamales by Gary Soto, The Story of Chopsticks by Ying Chang Compensite, and Foods of Ethiopia by Barbara Sheen, to teach how different cultures eat different things. The teacher could use these resources to discuss with the class about how food is farmed and made in other cultures as well as in their own. The students could then draw a picture and describe their favorite foods to the class by telling what they are and where the foods come from. Having children of diverse cultures could create a situation in which the teacher could allow the students to discuss their differences and similarities in food choices. The teacher could have the students vote on different types of food that they would like to try and make them, or he or she could ask the students to bring in their favorite dishes to share with the class. Having these experiences would allow the students to learn about different cultures through their food choices. The students would then learn to appreciate the differences in the class rather than to be uncomfortable with them. The teacher could take the opportunity to show an appreciation of all cultures. She could emphasize to the class that differences are great and that they should be celebrated. Multicultural education is often difficult to fully integrate into the classroom due to the amount of research that one has to do in order to include all cultures and all individuals. However, a successful multicultural classroom is the most effective way to teach students of diverse backgrounds. Even if it is difficult to grasp completely, it is important to incorporate as many multicultural experiences as possible into every school day.